Tropic Thunder is a 2008 American action comedy co-written, produced, directed by, and co-starring Ben Stiller. The film also co-stars Robert Downey, Jr. and Jack Black. The main plot revolves around a group of prima donna actors who are making a fictional Vietnam War film. When their frustrated director decides to drop them in the middle of a jungle, they are forced to rely on their acting skills in order to survive the real action and danger. Written by Justin Theroux and Etan Cohen, the film was produced by Red Owl Films and distributed by DreamWorks Pictures through Paramount Pictures. Stiller's idea for the film originated while playing a minor role in Empire of the Sun, and he later enlisted Theroux and Cohen to help complete the script. After the film was greenlit in 2006, filming took place in 2007 on the Hawaiian island of Kauai over 13 weeks and was later deemed the largest film production in the island's history. The film had an extensive marketing promotion, including faux websites for the three main characters in their fictional films, airing a fictional television special, and selling the energy drink advertised in the film, Booty Sweat. The film received generally favorable reviews with critics approving of the film's characters, story, and faux trailers. However, it did receive criticism for content that some deemed offensive. The film's soundtrack and score debuted on August 5, 2008, before the film's theatrical release. In its North American opening weekend, the film earned $26 million and retained the #1 position for the first 3 weekends of release. The film and its cast were nominated for several awards by various groups including the Screen Actors Guild, Broadcast Film Critics Association, and the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. The film grossed $180 million in theaters before its release on home video on November 18, 2008. Plot: hook-handed Vietnam veteran John Four-Leaf Tabak's memoir, Tropic Thunder, is being made into a film. With the exception of newcomer supporting actor Kevin Sandusky, the cast are fading action hero Tug Speedman, 5-time Academy Award-winning Australian method actor Kirk Lazarus, rapper Al Pacino, and drug-addicted comedian Jeff Portnoy behave unreasonably. Rookie director Damian Coburn cannot control them during filming of a large war scene, and production is reported to be 1 month behind schedule. Studio executive Les Grossman orders Damian to get filming back on track, or risk its cancellation. Acting on Four-Leaf's advice, Damian drops the actors into the middle of the jungle, with hidden cameras and rigged special effects explosions to film guerrilla style. The actors have guns that fire blanks, along with a map and scene listing that will lead to a helicopter waiting at the end of the route. Unbeknownst to the actors and production, the group have been dropped in the middle of the Golden Triangle, the home of the heroin-producing Flaming Dragon Gang. Just as the group are about to set off, Damian inadvertently steps on an old landmine and is blown up, stunning the actors. Tug, believing Damian faked his death, persuades the others that Damian is alive and that they are still shooting the film. Kirk is unconvinced but joins them in their trek through the jungle. When Four-Leaf and pyrotechnics operator Cody Underwood try to locate the dead director, they are captured by Flaming Dragon, at which point Four-Leaf reveals that he fabricated his memoir and that he has hands. As the actors continue through the jungle, Kirk and Kevin discover that Tug is leading them in the wrong direction. The 4 actors, tired of walking and hoping to be rescued, leave Tug, who goes off by himself and is captured by Flaming Dragon. Taken to their heroin factory, Tug believes it is a POW camp from the script. The gang discovers he is the star of their favorite film, the box office bomb Simple Jack, and force him to reenact it several times a day. Meanwhile in Los Angeles, Tug's agent Rick Peck is trying to negotiate with Les an unfulfilled term in Tug's contract that entitles him to a TiVo. Flaming Dragon calls the two and demands a ransom for Tug, but Les instead berates the gang. Despite the threats, Les expresses no interest in rescuing Speedman and tries to convince Rick about the benefits of allowing Tug to die and collecting the insurance. Les also offers Rick a Gulfstream V and money in return for his cooperation. Kirk, Alpa, Jeff, and Kevin discover Flaming Dragon's heroin factory. After seeing Tug being tortured, they plan a rescue attempt based on the film's script. Kirk impersonates a farmer towing a captured Jeff on the back of a water buffalo, distracting the armed guards so Alpa and Kevin can locate the captives. After the gang notices inconsistencies in Kirk's story, the actors open fire, temporarily subduing them. When the gang realize they are being guarded by actors, they gather their guns and begin firing. The four actors locate Tug, Four-Leaf, and Cody, and they cross a bridge rigged to explode to get to their helicopter. Tug asks to remain behind with the gang, which he considers his family, but quickly returns when Flaming Dragon fires in pursuit. Four-Leaf detonates the bridge, allowing Tug to reach safety, but as the helicopter takes off, the gang fires an RPG at the helicopter. Rick unexpectedly stumbles out of the jungle carrying a TiVo box and throws it in the path of the RPG, saving them. The crew return to Hollywood, where footage from the hidden cameras is compiled into a feature film, Tropic Thunder, which becomes a major critical and box office hit. The film wins Tug his first Academy Award, which Kirk presents to him at the ceremony. Cast: Ben Stiller as Tug Speedman. Compared to a young Sylvester Stallone, he was the highest-paid, highest-grossing action film star ever due to his Scorcher franchise. His career has stalled, and he now has a reputation for appearing in nothing but box office bombs. After a failed attempt at portraying a serious role in Simple Jack, he takes the role of Four-Leaf back in an attempt to save his career. The first faux trailer at the film's start is a preview for Scorcher 6, Global Meltdown, the latest in his series. Robert Downey, Jr. as Kirk Lazarus. Compared to Russell Crowe, an immensely talented Australian method actor, Lazarus had a controversial pigmentation alteration surgery to darken his skin for his portrayal of the black character Sergeant Lincoln Osiris. Lazarus refuses to break character while filming and only speaks in his character's black English. Lazarus's faux trailer, Satan's Alley, is about two gay monks in a 12th-century Irish monastery, parodying films such as Brokeback Mountain and Downey's own scenes with Tobey Maguire in Wonder Boys. Jack Black as Jeff Portnoy. Compared to Chris Farley, he is a drug-addicted comedian actor well known for portraying multiple parts in films that rely on toilet humor, particularly jokes about flatulence. In the film within a film, he plays a raspy-voiced soldier named Fats. Portnoy's faux trailer for The Fat is, Fart 2, about a family which enjoys passing gas, spoofs Eddie Murphy's portrayal of multiple characters in films such as Nutty Professor 2, The Klumps. Brandon T. Jackson as Al Pacino, a rapper who is attempting to cross over into acting, portraying a soldier named Motown, while promoting his Bust a Nut candy bar and energy drink, Booty Sweat. His name is a play on Al Pacino. Before the faux trailers, a faux commercial for Booty Sweat and Bust a Nut appears, accompanied by the song I Love the Pussy. Jay Baruchel as Kevin Sandusky, a respectful novice actor, he is the only cast member to have read the script and book and attended the assigned boot camp before the film. Sandusky plays a young soldier named Brooklyn in the film within a film. Brooklyn and Sandusky each occupy the position of straight man in character in the film within a film and its cast, being the only actor without an internal conflict or deep-seated insecurity. Nick Nolte as John Four-Leaf Toback, the author of Tropic Thunder, a fake memoir of his war experiences on which the film within a film is based. He suggests the idea of dropping the actors in the middle of the jungle to get them looking and feeling like soldiers lost in a foreign land. Steve Coogan as Damian Coburn, the inexperienced British film director who is unable to control the actors in the film. Danny McBride as Cody Underwood, a film's explosives expert and helicopter pilot. He is a pyromaniac. Matthew McConaughey as Rick Pecker Peck, Tug Speedman's extremely devoted agent and best friend. Bill Hader as Rob Slalom, assistant and right-hand man to Leigh Grossman. Brandon Suhu as Tran, the young leader of the Flaming Dragon Gang and the film's main antagonist. The character was compared to Karen National Union guerrilla leaders Johnny and Luther HTOO. Reggie Lee as Byong, the second in command of the Flaming Dragon Gang. Tom Cruise as Leigh Grossman, the foul-mouthed, hot-headed studio executive producing Tropic Thunder. Various actors and celebrities portray themselves, including Tobey Maguire, Tyra Banks, Maria Menounos, Martin Lawrence, The Moonies Suzuki, Jason Bateman, Lance Bass, Jennifer Love Hewitt, Alicia Silverstone, and John Voight. Christine Taylor, Minnie Andon, Anthony Rivivore, Rachel Avery, and Yvette Nicole Brown have roles as minor characters in the film. Justin Theroux, the writer of the film, appears in 2 brief roles as a UH-1 Huey Gunner and the disc jockey from Zoolander. Production, script. Stiller developed the premise for Tropic Thunder while shooting Empire of the Sun, in which he played a small part. Stiller wanted to make a film based on the actors he knew who, after taking part in boot camps to prepare for war film roles, became self-important, and self-involved, and appeared to believe they had been part of a real military unit. Co-writer Theroux revealed that the initial script concept was to have actors go to a mock boot camp and return with post-traumatic stress disorder. The final script was developed to satirize Vietnam War films such as Apocalypse Now, Platoon, Full Metal Jacket, Hamburger Hill, and The Deer Hunter. Theroux pointed out that since viewers had an increased awareness of the inner workings of Hollywood due to celebrity websites and Hollywood news sources, the script was easier to write. Dialogue for unscripted portions of the storyboard was developed on set by the actors or was improvised. Casting. Etan Cohen created the role of Kirk Lazarus as a way of lampooning the great lengths that some method actors go to depict a role. Downey was approached by Stiller about the part while on vacation in Hawaii. Downey said on CBS The Early Show that his first reaction was, "This is the stupidest idea I've ever heard." And that Stiller responded, "Yeah, I know isn't it great?" In another interview, Downey said that he accepted the part but, having no idea where or even how to start building the character of Lazarus, eventually settled on a jive-esque speech pattern and a ragged bass voice. He then auditioned Lazarus' voice over the phone to Stiller, who approved the characterization immediately. Downey revealed that he modeled the character on actors Russell Crowe, Colin Farrell, and Daniel Day-Lewis. The initial script was written for Downey's character to be Irish, but was altered after Downey stated he could improvise better as an Australian. Downey's practice of remaining in character between takes and even off the film set was also written into the script for his character to perform. Downey required between 1.5 to 2 hours of makeup application. According to Downey, one makeup artist would start on one side of my face and a second makeup artist would start on the other side, and then they'd meet in the middle. Downey acknowledged the potential controversy over his role. "At the end of the day, it's always about how well you commit to the character. If I didn't feel it was morally sound, or that it would be easily misinterpreted that I'm just C. Thomas Howell, in Soul Man, I would have stayed home." Jackson stated, "When I first read the script, I was like, what? Blackface? But when I saw him act became a black man. It was just good acting. It was weird on the set because he would keep going with the character. He's a method actor." Stiller commented on Downey's portrayal of a white actor playing a black man, "When people see them in the context of the film, he's playing a method actor who's gone to great lengths to play a black guy. The movie is skewering actors and how they take themselves so seriously." Stiller previewed the film before several black journalists and the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, who reacted positively to the character. Cruise was initially set to cameo as Stiller's character's agent, Rick Peck. Instead, Cruise suggested adding a studio head character, and the idea was incorporated into the script. Stiller and Cruise worked together to create the new character, Les Grossman, as a middle-aged businessman. The role required that Cruise don a fat suit, large prosthetic hands, and a bald cap. It was Cruise's idea to give the character large hands and dance to low. Stiller intended to keep Cruise's role a secret until the film's release. In addition, Paramount Pictures refused to release promotional pictures of Cruise's character to the media. In November 2007, images of Cruise wearing a bald headpiece and a fat suit appeared on Inside Edition, as well as on the Internet. Cruise's attorneys threatened a lawsuit if photos showing Cruise in costume were published. They approached various sites that were hosting the image and quickly had it removed. A representative for Cruise stated, Mr. Cruise's appearance was supposed to be a surprise for his fans worldwide. Paparazzi have ruined what should have been a fun discovery for moviegoers. The photography agency INF, who debuted the image, responded with a statement, "While these pictures were taken without breaking any criminal or civil laws, we've decided to pull them from circulation effective immediately." Serving as a last-minute replacement, Tobey Maguire was only available to be on set for 2 hours to film his scenes in Satan's Alley. Downey said he was amazed Maguire would agree to do the film and felt like they were creating a karmic payoff for their scenes together in the 2000 film Wonder Boys, where Downey's character has a one-night stand with Maguire's character. After Cruise vacated the role of Rick Peck, Owen Wilson was cast to play the part. Following his suicide attempt in August 2007, Wilson dropped out of the film and was replaced by Matthew McConaughey. Filming: although Southern California and Mexico were considered for the main unit filming, the Hawaiian island of Kauai was selected for the majority of the shooting. Kauai was chosen over Mexico because a tax credit for in-state spending was negotiated with the Kauai Film Commission. John Toll, the cinematographer, stated the island was also selected for its similarity to Vietnam, based on its dense foliage, variety of terrains, and weather. Kauai was first scouted as a possible location to film Tropic Thunder in 2004. Stiller spent more than 25 hours over 6 weeks exploring the island, using all-terrain vehicles, boats, and helicopters. After the film was greenlit by DreamWorks in 2006, pre-production lasted for 6 months, most of this time spent on scouting additional locations for filming. Filming for the Los Angeles and interior scenes occurred on sets at Universal Studios in Hollywood. Tropic Thunder was the first major studio production on Kauai in 5 years. After filming was completed, it was deemed the largest production filmed on the island to date, and contributed more than $60 million to the local economy. Tim Ryan, the executive editor of Hawaii Film and Video magazine, commented on the filming on the island, "I think Tropic Thunder will give Kauai much-needed and long-idled publicity in the production arena. It should put Kauai back on the production consideration radar." Preliminary production crews were on the island starting in December 2006 and principal photography began in July 2007, with filming lasting 13 weeks over 7 separate locations on the island. Much of the filming took place on private land as well as conservation status designated areas. Casting calls on the island sought 500 residents to portray the villagers in the film. 2 units shot simultaneously on the island from the ground, and an aerial unit shot from helicopters. Many of the sets and the bridge used for one of the final scenes were built in 3 months. The island's erratic weather hampered filming with rain and lighting issues. The crew also faced complications in moving the equipment and cast due to the difficult terrain. The film advising company Warriors Incorporated was enlisted to ensure the war scenes, including the attire worn by the actors, looked authentic. Former members of the U.S. military taught the actors how to handle, fire, and reload their weapons, as well as perform various tactical movements. The opening war scene was filmed over 3 weeks and required 50 stuntmen. Animatics were used to map out the necessary camera angles for filming. Effects: 6 companies working on different scenes and elements created 500 shots of visual effects in the film. These were at times altered weekly due to the reactions of test audiences in screenings. CIS Visual Effects Group assisted with the Scorcher 6 faux trailer and 20 additional shots for the home media release. To expand on the comedy in the film, some of the explosions and crashes were embellished to look more destructive. The visual effects supervisor Michael Fink reflected on the exaggerated explosions, "We worked really hard to make the CG crashing helicopter and the hot landing sequence look real." Ben was adamant about that, but at the same time he wanted the explosion to be huge. "When you see it hit the ground, it was like it was filled with gasoline." It was the same thing with Ben's sergeant character, who almost intercepts a hand grenadier. "Now, I was in the army for 3 years and no hand grenade would make an explosion like that. But it was a big dramatic moment and it looks really cooler. And feels kind of real." Filming the large napalm explosion in the opening scene of the film required a 450-foot row of explosive pots containing 1,100 gallons of gasoline and diesel fuel. All the palm trees used in the explosion were moved to the specific location after the crew determined the impact of the lighting and necessary camera angles. Due to the size and cost of the 1.25-second explosion, it was only performed once and was captured by 12 cameras. For the safety of the crew and cast, the detonators were added only an hour before the explosion and nobody was allowed to be within 400 feet during detonation. The explosion was made up of 12 individual explosions and resulted in a mushroom cloud that reached 350 feet in the air. For the scene in the film, Danny McBride's character, Cody Underwood, was the only actor shown in the shot of the explosion. All the other characters were added digitally. The explosion of the bridge in one of the final scenes used 9 cameras to capture the shot, and the crew was required to be 3,000 feet away for their safety. Promotion. A trailer for the film was released in April 2008. The Calgary Herald gave it a rating of 3/5, commenting, "This could either be good or very, very bad." Gary Sussman of Entertainment Weekly questioned whether the film would turn into precisely the kind of bloated action monstrosity that it's making fun of. The trailer received the Best Comedy Trailer Award at the 9th Annual Golden Trailer Awards. DreamWorks also released a red band trailer, the first of its kind used by studio to promote one of its films. Stiller, Downey, and Black appeared on the 7th season finale of American Idol in a sketch as the Pips performing with Gladys Knight using archival footage of her. The 3 actors also later performed a sketch at the 2008 MTV Movie Awards which featured the actors attempting to create a successful viral video to promote the film with awkward results. In September 2008, Stiller and Downey attended the San Sebastian International Film Festival to promote the film. A screening was shown, but it was not chosen to compete against the other films at the festival. Between April 2008 and the film's commercial release in August 2008, the film had over 250 promotional screenings. On August 3, 2008, Stiller, Downey, and Black visited Camp Pendleton, a U.S. Marine Corps base in California, to present a screening to over 1,000 military members and their families. The screening was on behalf of the United Service Organizations and included the actors heading to the screening by helicopter and Humvees. On August 8, 2008, a special 30-minute fictional True Hollywood story aired about the making of Tropic Thunder. In video games, a themed scavenger hunt was incorporated into Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, Vegas 2, and Stiller allowed his likeness to be used in the online Facebook application game based on the film. As a tie-in for the film's release, Paramount Pictures announced it would market the energy drink known in the film as Booty Sweat. Michael Corcoran, Paramount's president of consumer products, commented on the release, "We're very excited, because it has the potential to live for quite a while, well beyond the film." The drink was sold in college bookstores, on Amazon.com, and at other retailers. Faux websites and Mockumentary. Several faux websites were created for the main characters and some of their prior film roles. A website for Simplejack, a faux film exhibited within the film, was removed by DreamWorks on August 4, due to protests from disability advocates. In addition, other promotional websites were created for Make Pretty Skin Clinic, the fictional company that performed the surgery of the film's character Kirk Lazarus, along with one for the energy drink Booty Sweat. In mid-July 2008, a faux trailer for the mockumentary Reign of Madness was released. The mockumentary was a parody of Hearts of Darkness, a filmmaker's apocalypse. It follows co-writer Justin Theroux as a fictional documentarian named Jan Jar-1/4 Gen documenting the behind-the-scenes aspects of the film within the film. Marketing for the faux documentary included a movie poster and an official website prior to Tropic Thunder's release. The mockumentary was released on the iTunes Store after the film's release and was also included on the home video release. Amy Powell, an advertising executive with Paramount Pictures, reflected on the timing of the release of Madness, "We always thought that people would be talking about Tropic Thunder at the water cooler, and that's why we decided to release Reign of Madness 2 weeks into Tropic Thunder to keep this positive buzz going. Release, theatrical release, Tropic Thunder premiered on August 11, 2008, at the Mann Village Theatre in Westwood, California, 2 days before its wide release. Members of several disability groups picketed before the premiere, protesting at the portrayal of mental retardation shown in the film. The groups revealed that it was the first time that they had ever protested together at an event. As a result of the protest, the normally unobstructed views of the red carpet leading to the premiere were blocked off by 10-foot-high fences and there was an increase in the number of security personnel present. No protests were held at the United Kingdom's September premiere. The North American release was scheduled for July 11, 2008, but was delayed until August 15, before being brought forward to August 13. As a result of the move from July, 20th Century Fox moved its family comedy Meet Dave in the open slot. The August 13 release date was also the opening weekends for the animated family film Star Wars, The Clone Wars and the horror film Mirrors. Studios consider the third week of August to be a weaker performing period than earlier in the summer because of students returning to school. Previous R-rated comedies such as The 40-Year-Old Virgin and Superbad were released in mid-August and performed well at the box office. Reacting to Tropic Thunder's release date, Rob Moore, vice chairman of Paramount Pictures, stated, "For a young person at the end of summer, you want to have some fun and forget about going back to school. What better than a crazy comedy?" Reception: a film received mostly positive reviews by critics. The review aggregation website Rotten Tomatoes gives the film a score of 83%, a sample of 221 reviews, with an average score of 7.1/10. Metacritic, which assigns a weighted average score out of 100 from reviews by mainstream critics, gave a film rating of 71/100 based on 39 reviews. After attending an industry screening in April 2008, Michael Cineppoli from The New York Times stated that the film was shaping up as one of DreamWorks' best prospects for the summer. Claudia Puig of USA Today gave the film a positive review, writing, "There are some wildly funny scenes, a few leaden ones and others that are scattershot, with humorous satire undercut by over-the-top grisliness. Still, when it's funny, it's really funny." A review in Variety by Todd McCarthy was critical. "Apart from startling, out-there comic turns by Robert Downey Jr. and Tom Cruise, however, the antics here are pretty thin, redundant and one-note." Rick Gron of the Globe and Mail gave the film a negative review, calling it an assault in the guise of a comedy. Watching it is like getting mugged by a clown. J.R. Jones of Chicago Reader stated, "The rest of the movie never lives up to the hilarity of the opening, partly because the large-scale production smothers the gags but mostly because those gags are so easy to smother." The faux trailers before the film also received mixed reviews. David Anzen of Newsweek approved of the trailers, writing, "Tropic Thunder is the funniest movie of the summer, so funny, in fact, that you start laughing before the film itself has begun." Christy Lemire, writing for the Associated Press, called the trailers the best part of the trip. Robert Wilansky of The Village Voice was critical, saying that the trailer's comedy resides in the land of the obvious, easy chuckle. The cast received mixed critical reception. Downey was praised by many critics, claiming that he stole the show, was off-the-charts hilarious, and would bring viewers the fondest memories of his work. Scott Feinberg, of the Los Angeles Times, criticized the concept of Downey's portrayal of an African American, writing, "I just can't imagine any circumstance under which a blackface performance would be acceptable, any more than I can imagine any circumstance under which the use of the N-word would be acceptable." Sarah Vilkermison said Cruise did an astonishingly funny and surprising supporting performance. Logan Hill of New York argued against Cruise's cameo, saying that it just makes him look a little lost and almost pathetic, shucking and jiving, trying to appeal to the younger moviegoers who were abandoning him. Several critics commented on the controversy over lines in the film talking about the mentally disabled. Dwayne Dudek of the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel wrote that the film A is just sophomoric enough to offend. And while it is also funny, it is without the empathy or compassion to cause us to wonder why we are laughing. Christian Toto of the Washington Times argued against the opposition. Tropic Thunder is drawing fire from special interest groups for its frequent use of the word retard, but discerning audiences will know where the humor is targeted. And they'll be laughing too hard to take offense. Kurt Loder of MTV contrasted the opposition to the lines with Downey character portrayal of an African American, the scene in which the derisive Al Pacino, Brandon T. Jackson nails Lazarus' recitation of black uplift homilies is nothing more than the lyrics to the Jeffersons theme is funny. But the one in which Lazarus quietly explains to Speedman that his Simple Jack character failed because he made the mistake of going full retard rather than softening his character with cuteness in the manner of Forrest Gump is so on-the-nose accurate, it takes your breath away. Critics lists. In January 2009, Entertainment Weekly included Tropic Thunder in its list 25 great comedies from the past 25 years for its spot on skewering of Hollywood. The film also appeared on several critics' top 10 lists of the best films of 2008. Stephen King placed it at the 4th position, calling the film the funniest, most daring comedy of the year. The Oregonian's Mark Moen placed it 6th, and several critics placed it 7th. Elizabeth Weitzman of the New York Daily News, Premier Magazine, Mike Russell of the Oregonian, as well as Peter Haralaub of the San Francisco Chronicle. David Anzen of Newsweek placed it 8th and Lisa Schwartzbaum of Entertainment Weekly included the film in the 10th position. Box office. Stacey Snider, the chief executive of DreamWorks, suggested that the film would earn around $30 million in its opening weekend and go on to be as successful as Borat, Cultural Learnings of America for Make Benefit Glorious Nation of Kazakhstan, which earned $129 million in the US and Canada and $260 million worldwide. The Dark Knight had been the #1 film at the box office for the 4 weeks prior to the release of Tropic Thunder. Bob Thompson, a writer for the National Post, speculated that Tropic Thunder's opening weekend would outperform The Dark Knight for the weekend. In a list compiled prior to the summer's film releases, Entertainment Weekly predicted that the film would be the 10th highest-grossing film of the summer at the American box office with $142.6 million. Tropic Thunder opened in 3,319 theaters and, for its first 5 days of American and Canadian release, earned $36,845,588. A film placed first in the weekend's box office with $25,812,796, surpassing Star Wars, The Clone Wars and Mirrors, which debuted the same weekend. Reacting to the film's opening receipts, DreamWorks spokesman Chip Sullivan stated, "We're thrilled, quite frankly. It played out exactly how we hoped." In foreign markets for the film's opening weekend, it was released in 418 Russian and 19 United Arab Emirates locations, earning $2.2 million and $319,000, respectively. The film maintained its #1 position at the American and Canadian box office for the following 12 weekends, making it the second film in 2008 to hold the #1 position for more than 12 consecutive weekends. The film's widest release was in 3,473 theaters, placing it in the top 25 widest releases in the U.S. for 2008. For 2008, the film was the 5th highest-grossing domestic R-rated film. The film's U.S. and Canada gross of over $110 million made Tropic Thunder Stiller's most successful film as a director. The film has had gross receipts of $110,515,313 in the US and Canada and $77,557,336 in international markets for a total of $188,072,649 worldwide. Accolades. In October 2008, Paramount Pictures chose to put end-of-year award push funds behind Tropic Thunder, and began advertising for Downey to receive a nomination by the Academy Awards for Best Supporting Actor. In a November 2008 issue by Entertainment Weekly, Downey's film role was considered one of the 3 contenders for Best Supporting Actor. As a way of extending the film within a film universe into real life, There have also been at least 2 online for your consideration ads touting Downey's character, Kirk Lazarus, for Best Supporting Actor. One of these contains scenes from Satan's Alley that were not in the trailer as released in theaters. At least one of the ads was produced by Paramount Pictures and intended for early for your consideration awareness for Downey's role. On January 22, 2009, the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences nominated Downey for Best Supporting Actor. At the 81st Academy Awards, Downey lost to Heath Ledger. With the onset of the annual Hollywood Film Awards season at the end of 2008, Tropic Thunder began receiving nominations and awards, starting with a win for Hollywood Comedy of the Year award at the 12th Annual Hollywood Film Festival on October 27, 2008. The film was nominated for Best Motion Picture, Comedy or Musical, for the Satellite Awards. In addition, Downey was nominated for Best Actor in a Supporting Role. The Broadcast Film Critics Association nominated Downey for Best Supporting Actor and awarded Tropic Thunder Best Comedy Movie at the BFCA's Critics' Choice Awards. Both Downey and Cruise received nominations from the Hollywood Foreign Press Association for Golden Globes for Best Supporting Actor. The Boston Society of Film Critics recognized the cast with its Best Ensemble Award. Downey was also nominated by both the Screen Actors Guild and the British Academy of Film and Television Arts for Best Supporting Actor awards. Home media. Tropic Thunder was released in the US on DVD and Blu-ray on November 18, 2008, 3 months after its release and a week after the end of its theatrical run in the US and Canada. The film was released on home video on January 26, 2009 in the United Kingdom. Special features include an unrated director's cut of the film, audio commentaries, several featurettes, deleted scenes, an alternate ending, and the Reign of Madness mockumentary. For the film's first week of release, Tropic Thunder placed on several video charts. It reached second place on the Nielsen Video Scan First Alert sales chart and Nielsen's Blu-ray disc chart, earning $19,064,959. In rentals, it placed first on the Home Media Magazine's video rental chart. The DVD sales in 2008 totaled $42,271,059, placing it in 28th for DVD sales for the year. By September 2009, 2,963,000 DVD units have been sold, gathering revenue of $49,870,248. Controversy. Tropic Thunder was criticized by the disability advocacy community. The website for Simple Jack was withdrawn on Augusta 4 amid several groups' concerns over its portrayal of mental retardation. A spokesman for DreamWorks said, "We heard their concerns, and we understand that taken out of context, the site appeared to be insensitive to people with disabilities." A coalition of more than 20 disability advocacy groups, including the Special Olympics and the Arc of the United States, objected to the film's repeated and excessive use of the word retard. DreamWorks offered to screen the film for the groups on Augusta 8 to determine if it still offended them. The screening was postponed to the same day of the premiere on Augusta 11. After representatives for the groups attended the private screening and were offended by its content, the groups picketed outside the film's premiere. Timothy Shriver, the chairman of the Special Olympics, stated, "This population struggles too much with the basics to have to struggle against Hollywood. We're sending a message that this hate speech is no longer acceptable." Disability advocates and others who previewed the film reported that the offensive treatment of individuals with mental disabilities was woven throughout the film's plot. Disability advocates urged people not to see the film, claiming it is demeaning to individuals with mental disabilities and would encourage bullying. Stiller defended the film, stating, "We screened the movie so many times and this didn't come up until very late. In the context of the film, I think it's really clear, they were making fun of the actors and actors who try to use serious subjects to win awards." Co-writer Etan Cohen echoed Stiller's rationale, "Some people have taken this as making fun of handicapped people, but we're really trying to make fun of the actors who use this material as fodder for acclaim." He went on to state that the film lampoons actors who portray mentally retarded autistic characters such as Dustin Hoffman in Rain Man, Tom Hanks in Forrest Gump, Cuba Gooding Jr. in radio, and Sean Penn in I Am Sam. A DreamWorks spokesman did not directly respond to the criticism, claiming that Tropic Thunder is an R-rated comedy that satirizes Hollywood and its excesses, makes its point by featuring inappropriate and over-the-top characters in ridiculous situations. The film's advertising was altered, but none of the scenes in the film were edited as a result of the opposition. In response to the controversy, the director's cut of the DVD includes a public service announcement in the special features that discourages use of the word retard. Music: Tropic Thunder's score and soundtrack were released on August 5, 2008, the week before the film's release in theaters. The score was composed by Theodore Shapiro and performed by the Hollywood Studio Symphony. William Ullman of AllMusic gave the score a positive review, stating it is an affectionate and knowing satire of the history of Hollywood action movie music, penned by an insider. Thomas Simpson of SoundtrackNet called it a mixture of fun, seriousness, rock and roll and great scoring. 5 songs: Come On Feel the Noise by Quiet Riot, Sympathy for the Devil by the Rolling Stones, For What It's Worth by Buffalo Springfield, Low by Flo Rida and T-Pain, and Get Back by Ludacris, were not present on the soundtrack, yet did appear in the film. The soundtrack features songs from The Temptations, MC Hammer, Creedence Clearwater Revival, Edwin Starr, and other artists. The single Name of the Game by The Crystal Method featuring Ryle has an exclusive remix on the soundtrack. The soundtrack debuted 20th on Billboard's Top Soundtracks list and peaked at 39th on its Top Independent Albums list. James Christopher Munger of AllMusic compared the music to other films' soundtracks such as Platoon, Full Metal Jacket, and Forrest Gump and called it a fun but slight listen that plays out like an old late 70s K-Tel compilation with a few bonus cuts from the future. Spin-off: Tom Cruise reprised his character Les Grossman for the 2010 MTV Movie Awards. On June 9, 2010 it was announced that a spin-off film would be developed centering on Grossman. A script has been written by Scott Pilgrim vs. the World and Project X screenwriter Michael Bacall. In March 2012 he gave an update on the long-rumored Les Grossman spin-off movie, revealing that the film will attempt to uncover where Grossman's well-documented anger issues originated. References. External links. Paramount.com, Tropic Thunder at the Internet Movie Database, Tropic Thunder at AllMovie, Tropic Thunder at Rotten Tomatoes, Tropic Thunder at Box Office Mojo.